I am back. Welcome back to a very special Stuck at Home Quick Hits edition of the F Money Show podcast. I am your host, Fran Chismar. I'm actually going to try something a little different today. Typically, whenever I do a radio show or a podcast, it's scripted. It's not like I'm reading it verbatim, like off a teleprompter, but I always have like written out the topics I want to talk about and some key points, and I'm totally going to ad-lib it today. So get ready for this train wreck, because whenever I deviate, it's typically you can't stop listening because it's so horrible. So I just wanted to touch base with everyone and see how you're doing. It's been quite a while. I don't think I've done a broadcast in 2 months, so I wanted to talk to everyone a little bit about that. So about 2 months ago, I went on hiatus from the F Money Show radio broadcast and also the podcast. And, you know, it was for a few reasons. I kind of felt at the time that it was kind of like losing steam. It was people were losing interest in it. I didn't feel that I was getting the listens or the tune-ins that I was hoping to get, and I was getting frustrated. I was getting disappointed, and it's nobody's fault. No one's listening. You know what? Hey, everyone has busy lives, and everyone has a lot going on and limited time. So, you know, my frustration was no one's but mine, and I realized that. So, you know, and a few things happened at that time. You know, I'm newly engaged right around that time, and I had to have a couple teeth pulled and a whole grafted over my sinuses that were in my sinuses. And I just figured it would be a good time to take a break. And not only did I take a break from the radio show and the podcast, I actually took a break from social media, even like my normal routines, like listening to the radio stations that I typically listen to. I stopped listening to and kind of switched it up a little bit and just kind of took a break from everything, which was really, really, I think, much needed, because I've been doing this probably for the last 6 years nonstop between my original blog, my music, my concerts, my life, and then writing for I-99, and then broadcasting for I-99, and then the F Money Show podcast. And it just seems like it was one thing after another, and I was putting a lot of pressure on myself. And, you know, even just keeping up on social media for these things is a job, you know, and this is a job that I do because I love, not because I get paid for it. So that kind of brings me to, you know, so I've been taking a break. And then one thing I've never really shared with anyone throughout these 6 years is what I actually do for a living, what I do to make money, which has nothing to do with any of this or music. So my work actually had asked me if I would be interested in doing a podcast for work as a hosting team. Me and a coworker, my coworker Tom, were going to co-host a podcast for work, which funny enough kind of became an overnight success. So, you know, if anyone is into, well, what I do for a living, I should say, is I'm the sales manager for one of the largest native plant nurseries, wholesale native plant nurseries in the United States. So, not anything that you would see in a garden center or go by, but we grow native plants for large-scale restorations, like wetland mitigations and reforestation. So, you know, some of our customers are New York City Parks or the Nature Conservancy or the Audubon Society, things like that, where we grow large amounts of native plants to do large-scale restorations and seeds. So, I've been in the nursery industry for over 30 years. So they wanted, between my podcast experience and my nursery experience, to co-host a podcast. So if anyone's interested, it is called Native Plants Healthy Planet. You can find it anywhere that you stream podcasts. And I've also been doing a series of videos along with other people called Whiteboard Ecology, and it's kind of using my knowledge to help the general public about things relative to native plants. And it kind of renewed my love for doing all this. Not only my love for work, but my love for podcasting, and really made me realize why I'm doing it. Not for the listens. I really need to have a creative outlet. I need this in my life. And it was nice to take a break from it because I very rarely do that. So it kind of renewed that love for why I'm doing it. So, and then coronavirus hits. So, fortunately, I'm very thankful that me and my family and my loved ones are all safe right now, and no one has contracted it. And you start hearing rumors of people that it's affected and musicians that it's affected. And I don't want to say any names, but you start hearing, oh, this person from this band is in the hospital, or this person just tested positive for coronavirus and they're actually in high risk. And it makes me appreciate that the bonds that I've made through doing this and the people that I've met and the experiences that I've had. So this morning I got up and decided, I'm going to continue to do the F Money Show podcast. And while it was on hold, I wasn't sure that I was going to come back to it, to be honest. I kind of thought maybe it's over, and because I just wasn't having fun with it anymore. And it made me realize, I need to do this. But the difference will be I'm going to do it. I'm not going to put pressure on myself. I'm not going to say, hey, I'm going to do an interview every month, or hey, I'm going to have an episode every 2 weeks. I'm going to do it when I feel like it. And I'm going to do it when I have something good to talk about or a good interview. So it will be here. It will just be, there may be a bunch right in a row. There may be nothing for a couple months, but it will always be here. I'm not going to retire it. I'm going to do it for the right reasons, which is my love for doing it. So why I am here today, I thought I would discuss 3 things that I have been digging during my hiatus. So it could be things that I've discovered, things that I've rediscovered, or just something I'm kind of digging. So 3 things that I'm currently into. So I did mention that I kind of switched up the radio stations that I listen to. So in Philly, right after the iHeartRadio massive layoffs and firings, I stopped listening to. Philadelphia has one alternative radio station, and I stopped listening to it. And I just didn't like the changes, and I figured instead of being vocal about what I don't like, I thought not listening would be the biggest statement, because that's their numbers. So if the numbers go down, they'll know people don't like it. If you like it, that's fine. You're more than welcome to listen all the live long day. But I made a stand and said, I'm not going to listen anymore. So I started listening to public radio again, and it's been a while. One of the things I love about public radio, WXPN in Philadelphia, just the vast variety of music they play. Sometimes it's all over the place, and that's what I don't care for, but it seems like it's been a little more consistent. I love that they play alternative, and I love that they play some oldies, or they'll do a thing on soul or a thing on R&B, and it's kind of, because I love all kinds of music, so it's kind of nice to get that diversity, which I haven't been giving myself, unless a lot of my week was trying to discover new alternative music to play on my radio show. So I was kind of force-feeding myself certain genres, and I'm just kind of letting them flow to me. So one morning on my way to work, I was listening, and they played Let's Be Still by The Head and the Heart, and I was familiar with the album title, Let's Be Still, but I hadn't actually heard the song Let's Be Still, and I loved it. And didn't even realize it was 6 years ago now that album was released, and I started binge listening to that song, and then went to binge listening the album, and didn't even realize how many songs off that album I knew, and I didn't necessarily know their name, like Another Story and Shake, but I knew those songs, and man, and then obviously from there you go back and you listen to their whole catalog, and I really feel like this is my favorite album of theirs from their whole catalog. And the lyrics to Let's Be Still, especially now in these times, these uncertain times, really kind of take hold and take on a different meaning. And it was actually kind of comforting to find this. So that's been one of my biggest loves during this break at the present time. So another thing that I've been digging, if you are a classic rock fan and you are on Instagram, you may want to check out Brian May's Instagram from Queen. So it's Brian May for real. And he's actually during this time of social distancing and being isolated in your house, has been sharing how to play selective guitar riffs and solos from out Queen's catalog. So one of my favorites is the opening riff from Keep Yourself Alive. And he goes through, if you want to, like, he'll play it. And if you want to learn how to play it, he'll actually goes on and explains how to play it. He, in other episodes, I think he's done 7 now, 6 or 7, but he does the solo for Bohemian Rhapsody, and they're phenomenal. So if you ever want to see one of the greats actually teaching you how to play, it's pretty phenomenal, pretty unreal. So please check that out. And then from there, obviously, I've been listening to a lot of Queen lately, a lot of classic Queen, because there's so much good stuff there. I revisited it when Bohemian Rhapsody came out, but now I'm doing it again, and it just never really seems to get old. Another thing that I've been digging, if you have not seen it yet, the ZZ Top documentary on Netflix. One of my coworkers turned me onto this, and I wasn't really into, I like ZZ Top, but I wasn't like, it wasn't like my first choice. But he kept talking about it, so I decided to check it out. What a great documentary. The thing I took away from this more than anything was how good of guys they are. They just seem really grounded, good guys. And I like that. And I like that they've been around for 50 years. And the catalog is so expansive and goes through, they changed with the times because they wanted to, not to cash in on it. And they stayed true to themselves. And I didn't realize how many ZZ Top songs I knew that I didn't know was ZZ Top. I had no idea Tush was ZZ Top. And I've heard that song my whole life and had no idea. So it was kind of nice to go back and then rediscover their back catalog and how many great songs there are. So please check it. Yeah, what a great career. The fact that Billy Gibbons actually toured with Jimi Hendrix, and Jimi Hendrix taught him how to do the opening for Foxy Lady. How many people can say that? That's incredible. So those are the types of things you take away from, and that was a very well done documentary. I was kind of disappointed that it kind of stopped only halfway through their career. If that, it probably stopped 15 to 20 years into their career and didn't really go past that. They really probably could do a part 2 to that. So, and I'm going to that was 3 things. I'm going to throw you one more as a bonus. So if you know me, you know that one band that I don't necessarily care for is the Dave Matthews Band. I don't really talk about that one too much. I thought you were probably all thinking Panic at the Disco, but it's actually the Dave Matthews Band. And one of my coworkers, actually my co-host on Native Plants Healthy Planet, his wife is a big Dave Matthews Band. So he sent me a text the other night saying, "Are you watching the Dave Matthews Band live stream?" And obviously I was not. We had a pretty funny exchange going back and forth. And he was like, "No, really, like, this is absurd. You have to watch it." So his banter, his unscripted banter, fully challenges Ian Mackay from Fugazi, his stage banter. It's all over the place and off the wall. You have to find the video of him talking about hiring a plumber and supporting local businesses during this time, because it is both fascinating and cringeworthy. I would love a reality show of just Dave Matthews Band's open riffing about stuff, because I can't tell if he's joking or if he's just completely lost touch. It's just, or if he was high. I can't even tell, but it's hysterical. And find his talk about M&Ms. It's just it's good for fans and non-fans alike. I think you'll totally dig it if you can. So that's about all I have. Just wanted to say hello, reintroduce myself to you, remind you that I'm here, and I hope that you're all here and you're staying safe and everyone is doing well. I appreciate everyone who's ever taken a moment to tune in and listen. Feel free to comment your thoughts on Podbean or on Twitter, Facebook, or YouTube. Remember, there's no right or wrongs. There's only opinions. And I can be easily swayed. I admit when I'm wrong. So thank you for tuning in. I may try to do some special editions during this time since I have the time. And maybe I will, maybe I won't. Only if the mood strikes and I have something good to say. So thanks to everyone for listening to the F Money Show. Shout out to Nightlife for the theme music. You can follow, if you're digging this and you want to follow, you can follow on Twitter at Fran_Chismar and on Facebook at the F Money Show. You can listen to the F Money Show, the radio show. I'm not sure. I have to be honest. I'm not sure if that one is going to make a comeback. I'm not saying no. Just that one I haven't been feeling yet. So it may just be where I do something spontaneous like this and pop up and say, hey, I'm on the air for a couple hours. So, but if you want to check out the podcast, if you have time, there are past episodes. There's some great interviews. There's also another quick hits that you can listen to. You can follow it on Podbean, iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Google Play, Stitcher, TuneIn, YouTube, or you can even ask Alexa to play the F Money Show with Fran Chismar. There's even an Alexa skill to add us to your daily briefing. So not sure when the next episode. I know the Tisburys are still interested in doing an episode interview, but I think we have to wait for all this to blow over to be we want to keep everyone safe. We definitely want to keep everyone safe. So thank you for tuning in. I'm Fran Chismar. I'm your host, and I will see you when the needle drops. Stay safe.
You're listening to the F Money Show with your host, Fran Chismar. We never stop. Right here on i99radio.com.